Hi everybody, I'm Zilla Blitz and welcome to the final episode in our playthrough with Votes for Women, designed by Tory Brown and published by Fort Circle Games. We're going into the last turn, and although we have a significant lead in states that have supported suffrage compared to those that are against it, the anti-suffrage movement only needs 8 states to win their cause, whereas we need 12 more states to go. Let's jump into the last turn and see if we can win suffrage in the United States. Here's where we stand as we go into the final turn. We have 24 green check marks, and Congress has passed the 19th Amendment, so it's all up to the states. Now, in our last turn, we're going to be trying to get to 36 check marks. If we don't, then we have to go to a final voting procedure where we determine, depending upon which state has an edge, which way that state will go. I'm hoping we don't get to that because the Oppobot, the anti-suffrage movement, has a voter suppression card in play that will give them an advantage in that final voting. But as we come into this last turn, we have a lot of work to do. We need 12 states, and the opposition only needs 8. Let's get started and deal our cards in a moment. I did want to mention 2 quick errors that I made in the last video. When campaigning, you only put cubes of your campaigner's color when you distribute cubes like that, and I was mixing them up. It turns out because most of the states got locked up, the only state where it mattered was New Hampshire should be all purple instead of I had a purple and a gold up there. So I've fixed that in between videos. But again, when you're campaigning, if you have a gold campaigner, you put gold cubes in that region. It would only matter if the anti-suffrage movement now got a card that said take away all your cubes of a certain color, then it would really hurt us. But so it didn't impact the game here, but I've just corrected that. Something to pay attention to as we go forward as well. Second little mistake, when we did one card that said the anti-suffrage movement should place 2 cubes in 3 states, I placed 4 cubes in Florida because it rolled up twice. I probably should have distributed them someplace else. That also didn't matter because the way things worked out, we had excess cubes going into the south that I put in a different state anyway, so I don't think it impacted gameplay, but it was probably a technical little error there. We shouldn't have put 4 cubes in 1 state when the card said 2 cubes in 3 states. Let's get started. Let's deal our cards. Final 6 cards. Now we know what 3 of them are because we saw them from before. 1, 2, 3. I'll deal these out. Alrighty, here we go. We got a good card that I was hoping for. This Dr. Mabel Pinghua Li is roll 2 8-sided dice and allows us to distribute cubes anywhere. I think that's going to be really helpful because we have a number of states that are out in the west and plains that we need to gather with just a couple of cubes. So I'd like to scatter some all across the whole world here. And then Prison Tour Special allows us to roll 6-sided dice instead of the 1 to 4 result dice when we're campaigning. So we're going to put that into play really quickly, I think, as we start into our turn here. So those are good. And I think we are short on buttons. So we're going to need some buttons, so I might need to play this one actually to get a couple of buttons to move some of our campaigners. But we'll see how this all plays out. Let's go bid for our strategy card now. All right, so these are the last 3 cards we have left. I think our best bet is this Bellwether state, which will allow us to remove all the red cubes and totally flip 1 state. So we're going to bid for that one. With only 6 buttons left, I'm a little bit leery of bidding 4 because we're going to need some buttons to move our campaigners around. And it will leave us in decidedly short of buttons going into, if we do go to final voting, where they would help to kind of get us some re-rolls of the die. But I don't want the Oppobot to get this card either, 100% certainty. So we're bidding 4 and hoping that we get a less than a 4 for the Oppobot. Oh my God, they get another 4. That's 3 4s they rolled out of 5 here. Generally, we should get almost 4 cards on average, and we ended up with only 2. This will cost us a clear state. God, that's frustrating. And 4 more buttons gone. Okay, so let's go to our first card play. So we're going to play the Prison Tour Special because I think we're going to do a ton of campaigning in this turn. This will give us a 6-sided die instead of the 1 to 4 result die when campaigning. That could be a huge help to us. White House picketers held and tortured as political prisoners at Occoquan later toured the country by train to exhort large crowds to support suffrage. Let's see what the Oppobot has in store for us. 1918 pandemic. Oh, okay, for a second there I was panicking. Everything conspires against women's suffrage. Obedient to the demands of health authorities, suffragists will refrain from public gatherings. Play if it is round 1 or 2 of the current turn. It is. Remove 1 support from Congress. That doesn't matter. For the remainder of the turn, the suffragist player must spend 1 button to play a card as an event. Okay, that's not too bad because I think we're going to do mostly campaigning this turn. There's a couple in here that it's probably going to hurt us on, but okay, we'll figure it out. Alrighty, let's go campaigning. We're going to play Women in World War I, which we can't play for the event anyway, so we're going to play it for campaigning action. God, that button card is a pain in the butt for us here because it could actually impact the whole thing. We're going to spend one button to move our purple campaigner, our yellow gold campaigner, out to the west to start getting some support out there. And then we are going to roll our 4 6-sided dice here to see how much support we get. We are hoping for big numbers. We don't have buttons to spare. Okay. So what's that, 13? Not too bad. 8 and 5. Yeah, we'll take it. 5, 3, 3, 2. Okay, so let's put these dice into play. We know exactly what we want down south here, which is the 3, because that'll get us Georgia. 3 in West Virginia, the 2 in New Hampshire, and then the 5 out west. And with that, we can play 2 purple cubes in New Hampshire because we have the purple campaigner. That gives us 4. Gives us a green check mark, number 25 for New Hampshire. And I think we're done in the we'll concede Connecticut and get out of here. Then in North Carolina, we can play 3 purple cubes right here, which gives us North Carolina, and we'll probably concede West Virginia. I think we're gonna need to get out of here. So that gives us a green cube down there, 26 states. Down here, we got a 3, which gives us 3 gold cubes in Georgia, and we did get Georgia. I always feel like Georgia is a good one to get in this game. So that gives us another state there, and we're done with our campaigning in the east. Now let's do some damage out west. All right, so with a 5 out west, we can put 1 gold cube in Washington, and that gets us Washington for our side, gives us 4 there, that's 1. Let's put another gold cube in Arizona. That gives us Arizona, that's 2. And we have 3 left to play, so let's play 2 in Oregon to give us Oregon, and then we'll play 1 in Utah to get us closer to Utah. So at the end of our first part, we actually picked up 6 states, 1 in the north, 1 in Appalachia, 1 in the south, and then 3 out west. That gives us 30 to 5. We need 6 more. Interesting. We might have a pathway to victory with just straight campaigning then. Gosh, these Applebuck cards make me nervous here. What do we get? The Woman Patriot. Add 2 in any 3 states. This bi-monthly newspaper published by the NAOWS stated it was dedicated to the defense of the family and the nation against feminism and socialism. Wow, there you go. Let's add 2 randomly to any 3 states. All right, so I'm gonna roll randomly for the region here first, and then kind of randomly determine the states in there. We'll take a look once I get these in place. So the Applebot got Connecticut, West Virginia, which is maxed out, and then it took 2 support away from us in Michigan. That hurts, because I was hoping we could grab Michigan with this next card play. But now it is 32-7. Applebot closing in. They need 6 more, and we need 6 more. Let's go to our turn. So if we look at the map going into our 3rd round here, we need to move our campaigners out west, and we only have 1 button left to do it. We can move 1 campaigner with 1 button. We need to move all 3, so we need 3 buttons. So let's figure out how we can get that. All right, so to get the 2 buttons, we could play this card as its event to get 2 buttons, but that's gonna cost us a button because we were playing it as an event because of the 1918 pandemic. So instead, we're just gonna play this Mary McLeod Bethune card, and we're just gonna play this to get 2 buttons, because you can always play a card to get 2 buttons. That'll give us 3 buttons, and we'll be able to move all our campaigners in our next turn. All right, here we go. Applebot, anti-suffrage. Oh, God. Okay, this is actually not too bad of a deal. The suffragist player must discard 2 anti-suffrage riots. The suffrage player must discard 2 cards from their hand at random and then draw 2 cards from the suffragist draw deck. That might actually help us. Some men were angered by women fighting for the vote and resorted to violence. Outside the White House, a mob attacked suffragist picketers. This is great, though, because it works. It doesn't put any anti-opposition, anti-suffrage support into the map. I'm really glad we got this card. So we'll go randomly reduce 2 of our cards and add 2 other ones. All right, so I'm gonna make some die rolls to remove 2 of these, and then we'll pull 2 new ones and take a look at what it looks like. All right, so we got this one. The young woman citizen was draw 2 cards from your deck, discard 1 and play the other card for its event immediately. But I think we're just gonna be campaigning, so no biggie there. We lose these 2, we get 2 others. Let's see if we get something interesting. All right. Oh, this one's good. Voter registration. The suffragist player rolls an 8-sided die instead of a 6-sided die during final voting. So if we look like we're going down to the final voting, we could probably put this one into play to even up the odds, but I'm hopeful we can get it without that. So now it is our turn. That was actually worked out really well for us. Let's go campaigning. Let's play midterm elections here, which is a one that adds national support. We don't need that, so we will play this to campaign. Alrighty, so we are going campaigning with all of our campaigners, and because the Northeast, Appalachia, and the South are all decided, we want to move them out of there, but we can roll first, hoping for nice big numbers. That's not very big. 5, 4, 1, 1. But we will take it. All right, so we are going to spend all of our 3 buttons here, and we're going to move our campaigners. We're going to move a purple one out west to give us 2 there. We're going to move a purple one to the plains, purple one, a gold one to the south to give us 2 in each area, and we're going to sacrifice Michigan, unfortunately. I don't think we can pick that one up. So now we get to assign these dice. Let's figure out what we want to do. All right, so we're going to assign the 5 and the 1 out here and the 4 and the 1 to the west, and now I'm going to start placing these in here. We can do some pretty good damage here now too, because we can add 1 gold cube to Utah to give us Utah. That gives us the 4th one there. We have 4 more purple ones that say to add. So let's add 3 there to give us New Mexico. That's another state. And then 1 left over. We'll put it in California, getting us closer there. Let's play the 5 here. We'll play 5 gold. So we'll put 1, 2, and 3, giving us 1, 2, 3 states, Nebraska, Wyoming, and Oklahoma. That's 35. Looking pretty good right now. We have 1 left over. We'll put that purple cube then in Kansas. Close, 35 states now. We've got 1 more to go. Let's see what the Applebot does in reaction. I'm hoping they get another card like this one that doesn't put cubes on the board. Senator William Borah, play as if there is at least 1 support in Congress. Remove 1 from Congress. There isn't. So congressional question is out of action. So this means that the anti-suffrage player will use this for campaigning. Alrighty, so we need to move these campaigners to random regions, but if there are states where they can't campaign, they go someplace else. So it's going to be either a 1, 2, or a 4 that we want. Now, if we're really lucky, we'll get double 4s, I think, and send them both there. That would be pretty cool. We're going to roll 2 dice. We don't want 1s and 2s. We want 4s here. We want at least 1 4. 5 and a 3. Both of those, all of those regions are decided. 5 and a 1. So the 1 comes out here, which is not what we wanted. 5 is decided. I'll keep 4. Excellent. Perfect. So 1 goes to the Midwest. And now we roll to see where their support goes. Let's roll for the California first, hoping for a nice low, or for the, it's either California or Idaho. It's going to go in one of those 2 states. Let's determine which state it is. It's randomly decided. So I'll just do 1, 2, 3 is California. 5. So it goes to Idaho. That's actually good for us too. The Applebot gets a 2. So it's going to put 2 red cubes in Idaho, which is perfect. Now the only state, it could go in Missouri here too. So it's got 2 options here. 1, 2, 3 will be Missouri, and 4, 5, 6 will be Michigan. It is going to Michigan, which is fine. Let's roll. It gets a 2. That's not too damaging. We lose that, and it turns red. But now I think we have a path to victory. All right, let us play the 18th Amendment, the Prohibition Amendment. For campaigning, temperance supporters wanted to prohibit the sale of alcohol to protect women from abuse, and they supported suffrage as a means to that end. It's so interesting, I think, in this game to see the connections between different causes, both good and bad, of course. So we're going to play this for campaigning. We need 1 more state for victory on our second to last round of the final turn. We're going to roll 4 dice for campaigning. Let's see what we get. Wow, we're not doing all that well with the die rolls here, but 5, 2, 1, 1, it doesn't really matter because we've got enough here, right? So we'll put 1 and 1 out west and then 5 and 2 here. And we don't need to have to go much farther than California. Let's get it. We put 1 and 1 in California. That gives us our 36th check mark. and the 19th Amendment has been ratified. We've achieved women's suffrage in the United States. Yippee! We can add these here, just, whoops, blowing up the map here. Let's sort this out, that was Nebraska. We do have 7, so we can put in, let's put 5 gold out here. 1, 2, so Kansas comes 2, 2. Yep, so there we go, we add 2 there, and that still leaves us 5 more. We can put the last 4 of those out here. So technically, we did grab 38 states, and that's when everything was decided in the remaining states here. So Idaho and Michigan and Missouri, the only 3 states left undecided with anti-suffrage support. So final victory, 38-7. Suffrage wins out, and the United States has a brighter future. That was a lot of fun to play. I'll come back in a couple days with the review. Thinking through the play here, I'm kind of kicking myself for making a number of mistakes. I feel like I did things that were a few moves that weren't really good in kind of a number of places, but there are a couple of really good ones that I feel like turned out really well for us. The one here was this Eye in the Future card that we used to get the 4th campaigner into action really early, and that allowed us to do heavy campaigning, and combining that with this like prison tour special, and then the other card we had in turn 5 that allowed us to use 6 sided dice instead of the 4-sided dice when campaigning. That's really powerful, because then even though our rolls were a little bit lower than average, you're still going to get an average like 14 support cubes in each turn that you campaign. So that really allowed us to kind of wear down these weak spots quickly, and then shift out here and overwhelm the West when we needed to do that. So I feel like that was probably a good execution of a pretty good idea, but then just kind of looking through as I've been editing the videos, seeing things like, oh, I shouldn't have done that. It's like, oh no, what was I thinking? I should have done that. But overall, I'm happy to see that it turned out in our favor. It seems like this game kind of comes down, feels like it always comes down to the wire no matter what happens. But love to hear your thoughts down below. We'll be back, and I'll be back in a few days with a full review of the game. Thanks everybody for watching. Have a great day.